Hello, and thank you for clicking on this video. Today I will be sharing with you my top 5 newborn must-haves. I just feel that these items are very underrated, especially when it comes to, creating your baby registry and just thinking of things to use around the house to help you with your newborn baby. So the first item is a designated blowout bin. And this can be like any plastic bin. It can be a bowl, it can be a bucket, just anything that's specifically for, clothes that have poop on them, and you just dump it in there, and then after you wipe down your baby and, clothe them, diaper them up, you take that bucket, you soak it in cold water and put a little bit of dish soap in it, and then just leave it for later because you don't have the time to, scrub it and, get the stain out, because it's better to soak it, and then you can, go back to your baby and carry on with your day. My baby had a brief period where she was quite colicky because I think it was the dairy that I was ingesting, even though I was drinking lactate milk. There is, I think, according to my pediatrician, she said there's still that cow's protein or some sort of protein in there that still affects babies' stomachs and can still make them gassy. And I was drinking 2 cups of milk per day because my mom believes that that helps with your breast milk supply. So I was drinking that for 2 cups a day for a week, and I just really noticed this abrupt change in her, like in her stomach and her diapers. She was more constipated, but also she would have some occasional blowouts, and she would not sleep. She was uncomfortable, and my mom could tell that she had like a big air bubble in her stomach that we just couldn't get out. So of course we put her on some gas drops, and that designated blowout bin was very helpful because we just tossed those in there and we will come back to it later because we had to attend to the baby, Speaking of blowouts and kind of making life easier when it comes to cleaning that situation up and making your life easier for yourself and the baby, my next item would be dog training pee pads. My mom's decided to lay it over on top of the changing pad, and I know the point of a changing pad is so that you create less waste and you just wipe it down after changing the baby. But if your baby has occasional blowouts, especially mine, even up to this day, she's 4 months, and every time, I think maybe it's just like because she's a strictly breastfed milk. I think because she's strictly breast milk fed that her poops are just more runny than usual. They still have some clumps in it, but it's just overall runny. And I've tried all of the diaper hacks that I find on the internet, like making sure the frills on like the leg openings are out and open, trying to fold the back brim of the diaper. I've tried everything, and she still manages to blow out, and it goes up all the way on her back. And it's, like I said, it's runny, so it like seeps through every layer of clothing. So when we had to change her, we lay her down on a changing pad with the dog pad on top of it. And if it's really bad, we even use the pad itself, the changing pad, not changing pad, the pee pad, and wipe down her butt first and like her bottom as much as we can before going in with the wipe, because we don't want to waste the wipes. And so like we wipe as much as we can with the pee pad and then toss it out. And yes, that can be wasteful with the pee pads, but most of the blowouts aren't that gnarly. And if they aren't, if she just gets like a little bit of like spots on the pee pad, we would just cut it and then just throw that section out. Like we would still keep this clean side of that pee pad. So it's not that wasteful, but it is very, very handy and helps us be more efficient when changing her, especially when it gets really messy like that. Okay, next item is, or my next items are blankets. This seems like you're probably like, wait, blankets? Of course blankets, right? but I want to make sure that specifically that you at least collect all different kinds of blankets, which you'll probably get if you're having a baby shower. You'll probably get like all different kinds of like material blankets, like soft fleece ones or quilted cotton ones, or like the really thin ones. My mom said I did not have enough blankets. Like I think from the baby shower and just from gifts in general, I had about at least 5 fleece blankets and maybe 2 of like the thin ones, and she's like, that's not enough. So she went out to Walmart and bought me more different kinds, you know, the thin ones, the medium ones, and the really thick fleece ones. And I was like, this isn't this excessive, but you can use them for everything. Like you can use the really thick fleece blankets as a play mat on the ground or on top of your rug or on the couch if you want to play with the baby on the couch. So another example is when we bathe her. So we have, of course, a bath towel, but after we bathe her, we lay down a really thick blanket on the bed so that her wet body doesn't seep through onto the bed sheets. So we have that underneath her, and to also provide more cushion and warmth, especially because she was born in the wintertime. And then on top of her, as we're patting her dry and like putting on her diaper, clothes or whatever, we have another blanket on top just to make her cozy and warm and she doesn't catch cold. So that's like already 2 blankets, sometimes even 3, depending on the weather. And that's the key factor is weather. Now that we're transitioning to summer and my baby tends to overheat very easily, just like her father, the thin blankets come in really handy because at night when it cools down, it kind of gets quite chilly in the house and in her room. So we have 3 options. So we have a thin blanket, a medium thin blanket, and then the really thick fleece blanket, depending on what her body temperature is like that night. And it's just really nice to have those kinds of options. Not only can you use them in a versatile way, but you have options to, you know, use according to the weather, your environment. And there's just not enough blankets you can have. That's not the saying. How does it go? There aren't enough blankets. You can't have enough blankets. There it is. Because like I said, you can use them for anything. You can roll them up and help them with tummy time. You put it underneath their chest. Like there's just so many things you can do with just a piece of cloth. And my last 2 items for this list are apps. The first one is Huckleberry. So when she first came out and the hospital kind of made me keep track of her poops and pees and the feedings at the same time. So we had to keep track of the time, what kind of poop it was, what the color and stuff. So I definitely wanted to keep up that habit, but I didn't want to keep using pencil and paper. I definitely could have kept a journal, but again, you don't have time to, draw a chart or even go online, find a chart, print it out, and then put it in a binder of some sort or something, or use a notepad and carry that around with you while you're trying to hold and soothe your newborn baby. So Huckleberry was just the best way to go for me. And I use it to track her feet. I didn't use it like fully to the fullest, maybe like the 3rd weekend, because the first 2 weeks was just like so chaotic. I did not have time to just go on my phone for every feeding, every diaper, because I was cluster feeding in the beginning, and that was like every 15 or every 30 minutes, and I was not tracking that at all. I was just going based on her needs and her cues. I mean, obviously right now I still go by her cues, but I really use the app to help me remind myself when was the last time she fed, because now I've got it like controlled. She eats every 3 hours on average, and I change her diaper every 2 hours or so. That's also on average. But yeah, very, very handy. I at first hated using it. I thought it was not user-friendly at all, but it's just one of those things where when you're introduced to something new, you just have to get used to it. You have to play around with it, get familiar with it, and then sooner or later you're going to be like, this is the best thing ever, and that's why it's on this list. It has really helped me a lot to be more organized amongst the chaos of being a new mother and this whole motherhood journey. This segues me into my last item, the last app, and that's just simply a decibel reader app. I forgot what it's called. It's probably like Decibel Tracker or something. But I did not know that if you have a sound machine, a white noise machine, which you probably would have, that you should have it at a certain decibel so that it doesn't impact your baby's hearing. And obviously, of course, I wasn't blasting it, but I did not know how loud it was in terms of decibel wise, and now I'm like so paranoid that I damaged my baby's hearing. But of course, my pediatrician said she's fine and she seems to be hearing well. But I was really paranoid when I first like read an article about this. I was like, oh crap, I have not been checking the decibel level I meant decibel level that I've been playing this sound machine every single night, every single day. And so this app just helps a lot and helps soothe my anxiety every time I have the white noise machine on, just to make sure that the environment that my baby's in while she's napping or while she's sleeping is at a nice appropriate level. It has to be under 50 decibels. And so on average, I have the sound machine on like 40 decibels. At most, it's like 44 decibels. I hope you find these items very helpful, or I hope you get curious and try them out yourself, like the designated diaper bin, the designated blowout bin. I hope that you can integrate that into your routine. But yeah, thank you for stopping by and watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.